So we are back.
Yes, sir. Back to the backgrounds.
Back to the backgrounds, back to the matrix, back to the cave on top of the mountain, overlooking the peasants.
All of the peasants, all of the poors running around doing their little small-minded shit, and just up here witnessing it and shaking my head in disbelief that this is the world we live in today.
Sprinkling fucking dust amongst these fucking, hoping and hopes that maybe that the magical dust will help them think better and critically think, but that's not happening, Jay. Fuck it. Back to game within a game. We're just going to keep giving you our ideas, our ideologies, and our insight on different things. But first, I always got to go into a little weekly or daily thing that's, always, trials and tribulations, and you know how this shit go.
The day to day.
Yeah, the day to day. It's been as you noticed, our backgrounds have been missing. Jay was doing a bit of traveling. I was doing a bit of traveling. Me a little bit more traveling. Jay got back a little earlier than me. We do have interesting lives. Yes, people. We are not just fucking podcasters and shit like that. We are interesting people who go about their lives trying to get shit done.
As you should be.
As you should be, right? So with all that being said, we still was able to execute the podcast and still give you the information that you needed or that you wanted or that we wanted to get out there. So there was no excuses involved in this.
No excuses on our end. There should be no excuses on your end either.
Absolutely not. So, just a disclaimer, told Jay behind the scenes in our little meeting before we turned the cameras on that I'm a bit down, a little, jet lagged, if that's, I don't even believe that's a fucking word. I'm fucking tired, right? Jet lagged. It's just a cool way to say I'm fucking exhausted, right?
Yeah,
I'm jet lagged.
The special types of tiredness and shit, so people can
right,
like they have fancy excuses for everything.
Yeah, right. Oh, jet lagged. It sounds good. You know what, Jay? I'm trying to make myself feel better about myself. So fuck that tired shit, Jay. I'm fucking jet lagged.
Jet lagged.
Because I've been on a fucking jet. Yeah, right.
Sounds a lot fancier too, don't it?
I'm domestic. Yes, I'm domestic.
Jet made me sleepy.
I'm domestic plane tired. I have domestic plane lag, whatever the case may be. But the show must go on. I'm going to, of course, give you the best effort I can. But Jay, as I told him behind the scenes, he's gonna carry most of the heavy lifting, carry the load, as he mostly does. I'm just here to kind of pick his brain, and like I said, previous episodes or maybe the episode before that, he is sort of a fucking special. I hate to say psychiatrist, but the motherfucker is Yoda, man, and I'm here to pick his brain for you guys, the audience, for you guys to help better yourself, because I think this guy Yoda is actually a special mind that needs to be studied. They should fucking have his brain after he's fucking dead and fucking pick at it and try to get shit out of it, right?
No, my brain gonna live on long after me.
Talk that shit.
They're floating through the ether and shit, just sprinkling wisdom across the world, observing everybody else, seeing what it is they're doing, and keep doing the same thing,
Talk that non-human shit,
take over the fucking ether.
Yes, talk that shit, man. Yeah, so as last episode, we talked about, observing regular human life and what you guys was talking about, fucking apes and 100 men apes and this and that, and we found certain things interesting. And this show is kind of similar because, like I said, we were traveling, and a lot of times when you're on these planes, you're looking at podcasts and you're looking at social media and seeing what people are talking about, and you can't help it, Jay. You can't help but to think, what the fuck are these people talking about? How are they
what is
thinking?
Occupying your minds?
Well, I don't know most of the times, man. And So today won't be any different. We got a couple of clips that stood out to us that we found interesting throughout the week. We exchanging these fucking little blurbs. I think that's what they call them. And we was like, wow, this is what we're thinking, right? So one stood out. Oh, before that, Jay, before I even go into that, um, I did this interview while in my travels. I did this interview with Brian Miller, Brian B. Miller. He mentioned the show. Shout out to him. But something he put some assets out and of me talking about certain things in the interview, and one caught the attention. One kind of, I don't want to say viral, whatever. It caught more attention than others about me not touring or the reason for me not touring, and I didn't get to go more in depth about that. A lot of people had their ideas or uh, they're chiming in about what I should do with my business and how I should conduct that. So I just wanted to add a little bit more context to that, Jay, if you don't mind.
Go for it.
Yeah. So I will be touring soon, right? So, but the idea of this and independence and power and freedom, this is what we scream about on this show. So, and I just don't talk about it. I try to add this to my everyday business, right? I try to execute these things we talk about. I'm just not up here talking, right? So when it comes to independence, that's even touring. That's a part of my business. So I'm in the I'm currently in the process of gathering emails, and I'm doing that because I want to reach out to each fan and have a let's just say a collective of emails. Let's say 5 to 10,000 emails. And when I do these shows, I reach out to each individual fan via email blast, whatever, and I say, listen, we are gonna have a show here. We're gonna do this here. You could pay in advance. We could speak. We could have a speak, and our shows and my show's going to be not like just a show. I'm going to be able to speak to each person there, and I want to do something different, right? And of course, I want all the money. So, I mean, I'm putting all the work in. What the fuck? I don't want you just to pay me 5,000 or a flat fee. You know what I'm saying? You get the door, you get the drinks, you get the this, and you get the that. That's cool. I'm past that part of my career. You know what I'm saying? I'm no longer 25, 30, 35 years old. I'm in my mid 40s. I don't want you to pay me $5,000 and me come perform in a smoky lounge. Uh, that's not what I'm into, man. So I am realistic, though. I'm currently not there where I wanted to be, so I'm building it, and that's just that, right? So I wasn't able to give that nuanced, advanced answer on B Dot show. So there it is. There you have it. That is my answer to that, and I hope that clears things up. If it doesn't, I don't give a fuck.
Man, see, here's the thing, though. But see, some people talk about ownership, some people talk about independence, and some people actually do it. It's real. It's one thing for to say all of it, to say all the buzzwords, and it sounds real good. But what are you actually doing to make it happen? Because the same people sitting there talking about they make all of this off of tour and all of that whatnot, you're still beholden to someone else's thing. You're still slotting yourself into someone else's system. So that's the only way that you're getting all of these stadiums and all of that whatnot. Even as big as Jay-Z, he has a thing with Live Nation. It's not his own thing. Jay-Z is not going himself and renting out Madison Square Garden and filling it with tickets. So yeah, man, but every time someone tries to do something new, every time someone tries to break out of something, people always got something negative to say, and they want to chime in with, you should be doing X, Y, and Z, and this is the path that should be taking, when they themselves have never stepped outside. So
yeah, man,
big shit, man. Salute. That's awesome.
Thank you, Jay, man, because it's just like, yeah, I wasn't, and to be fair, I wasn't able to give that type of answer on B Dot show, but there it is. That's the answer. Yeah, I like my freedom. I want to be free to do whatever the fuck I want, whenever I want, and like Jay just said, I don't want to be beholden to any entity on this planet Earth, especially not a sleazy fucking company or fucking whatever, what they call janky promoter. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I gave you 10,000. I need you to be here doing this at this time. And we not doing that.
You can't perform this song. You can't say this word.
Shit like that. Shit like that. You feel me? So if you don't applaud my ownership or my aspirations to be that guy, then I don't give a fuck. But this is what we do here. This is what we do here. Game within the game. We just don't talk that shit. We live that shit, and we try to execute the things we talk about, right? So that's just me trying to execute the things we're talking about. But I digress, Jay, because we're going to get back to the stupidity of you motherfuckers out there. I got to, Jay.
No choice.
One clip, Jay. Not you laughing already. I just sent you this clip, and you said you seen it, and we just found we both thought the same thing as we seen it, and found it real interesting. Certain verbiage that was used, but I'll go into it. Before we even do that, we got to name. I got to name the shit, and I have no fucking idea right now. You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna just. You know what, Jay? I don't know why. We're gonna name this the N-word.
That's beautiful.
This is a name that is the N-word. I don't know why.
Nah, I like this.
The N-word. We're just gonna say that this is the name of today's. This is the.
Hold on. Just seeing this title is going to have to send some people to therapy, apparently, the way that this world is going right now. They're going to read it, they're going to see it on their Spotify feed, on their YouTube or whatever, and they're going to instantly be traumatized.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that.
Off of work.
That's crazy, though. It just came to me. I didn't usually have, I have some thoughts about what I might name it, but that just came to my mind.
This is the universe. This is the universe's guidance.
Let it speak. Can't go against speaking that. Through us. It's speaking through us. So, right. It's just crazy how this N-word and its psychological effects on Black and white people, I find interesting. And I say white people because they too, they tend to cringe when they hear the word. Let's just say nigga, man. Nigga, or whatever.
Act like they're cringing.
Or they act like they're cringing. Or some people are. Some white folks do get a little uncomfortable. Especially, they get uncomfortable when Black people say it. It's just like, because I'm very observant. So I really, the person saying it, they might not observe it, but I just observe it. I did speak about I don't know if I did. I think I spoke about this on the show. One of our shows had my last physical altercation was with someone.
Subway guy
that was using the word on to someone else. I tried to walk away and whatever the case may be. But there was other Caucasian people there, and when he said the word, they automatically knew it was going up. So that's what I meant by how it psychologically affects white people too. This man said the word, and they were like, "Oh man, oh no, oh God." They, you know what I mean? It was like, "Whoa, okay, you crossed the line there, buddy. Okay, you crossed the line there, buddy. You could say anything, but not that." So it's like, damn, white, even the white folks, right? They not. They're even beholden to this word, this magical word, right? So that's why I say I find it interesting that white and Black people are affected when they hear it. And I find it interesting because how a single word can either incite anger, rage, depression, or even induce comfort or solace or alleviation. It's fascinating to me. It's almost like, Jay, it's almost like hypnotism, right? How people could snap in and out of emotions once hearing certain words. You know how like when the hypnotist fucking waving the fucking shit and he says a word and then motherfucker just snap out of it. Like, oh, I'm back. Or he says a word or does that and you snap into something. Yeah. So I would equate that to be like hypnotism. And we talked about the word black, the word black, black excellence, black love, black movie, black business, black lives, and how that word has been more of a trigger lately, either to induce you to spend money, engage, whether it be via social media or real life conversation, or to avert your attention to whatever the word is attached to, right? And that brings me to this clip, this Mark Lamont or Pierce Morgan clip, basically inviting a Caucasian woman. I don't know the woman, but inviting her to say the N word, the nigger word, uh, in the context of you're an admitted rapist and you admit to saying, because she had admittedly says the word and she doesn't care regularly in regards to black folks. So he's basically just saying like, "Oh, well, say the word now, fuck it." And Mark Lamont Hill, who was on the show, then he begins a spirited rant, Jay, on why she shouldn't be invited to say this racially harmful word. Those are his words while he was on the show. But Jay, that's not what grinds our gears here. Something stood out, right, in his spirited rant. He said, "If she says it, I'm the victim of it." And that word "victim," that word "victim," it's a comforting word for most people. I personally hate the word. Uh, there was a time where black folks, well, folks, especially black folks, were victims of pure evil, lynching, slavery, castration, rape, whatever, etc. While there's still forms of that today in a lesser degree, I would say it's far more avoidable, right? So, but we are now starting to become victims to words now, Jay, and ideas. We're victims to conversations and victims to disagreeable discourse. We are victims now of lesser shit. So Jay, I want to ask you: was Mark being overly performative with his spill? Because one more thing, I'll let you answer that. But before that, because I'll shoot you this scenario, Jay, just to add a little context to the question. What would one like Mark Lamont do in a situation where there's a 6'5", 280-pound redneck with cauliflower ears screaming the word nigger? Um, what would what would Jay? Would this word have the same effect? Would this word have the same triggering effect? And I know that's two questions, but I don't want to get too throw too much at you. But answer the first question: was he being overly performative? But can this word be triggering in certain aspects and not so triggering in other aspects? No disrespected or challenge to Mark. Um, just trying to show a point of how this word could psychologically uh, trick people or induce certain things that it's not natural, or a word shouldn't be able to make you react or not react. So I'll let you go into that, Jay.
So first and foremost, I don't know who the fuck Mark Lamont Hill is. Like I've heard the name before, but I didn't know who that was until you said it just now. I'm not saying that in a disrespectful way to him. I'm saying that to say that I don't know him to say whether or not he was being performative in that response.
But, it's not about him per se, but this situation, right? So I hate to attach names to it but it's the psychological part of it. So what he said, not him himself, but what he said, was that overly performative, or no disrespect to him?
The thing is, I think there are a very, very large contingent of people who truly do feel that way, who truly do feel that just hearing the word from a specific type of non-black person, because sometimes Asian people say it, nobody cares. They don't care whether Mexicans or Puerto Ricans say it. some people don't care when certain white people say it, but then other white people say it, and it's a huge thing. And I do think that some people legitimately have this response to it, but that as a whole is what the problem is. Because as soon as you started describing this earlier, I thought of exactly what it is that you said, which is hypnotism. So if you look out into the world and you see a group of people and they react a certain specific way when somebody says the word watermelon, you would think this is insane for you to respond this way just because I said this word, right? And the hypnotist, he snaps, he does the thing, you're under his, you do what it is that he says, or you do what it is that he has pre-programmed you to do, which is, you see on the TV shows, act like a dog or whatever dumb shit like that, right? And this is seen as hypnotism. But then when you take it into a real life context, and every single time Black people hear this word and react to it viscerally so, you say it's natural, that it's understandable based on the past, a past that they themselves have never happened to experience. And I think that it is absolutely wild to give so much power to a word, because you swear that these people are so against you. So why would you arm them with something to attack you and to hurt you, right? Because there are certain people who feel like if you say the N word, this is disrespectful and that must be addressed immediately. And you see yourself as the, asserting your dominance or commanding your respect or whatever the case may be when someone says it, and you respond and make sure they don't say it again. But in the larger picture, what you've done is now give this person power over you, your actions, and your feelings, because it's a word at the end of the day, right? It only has what it is that you give to it. So when you attach this significance to it and you say this word is hurtful, this word is damaging, this word is triggering, and then you go out and throw it out into the world there, all you've done is arm a bunch of people who you think are against you with a way to hurt you. Why in the world would you do that? Because once you strip that from it and you don't react to it in that way, it no longer has that sort of power, right? So people like to talk about their traumatic things or their triggering things, but at the end of the day, things only have the significance that you give to them. So to decide that you want this to be something so damaging to you is absolute insanity, because at this point in time, it's learned. There aren't people walking around who were actively slaves being whipped on a plantation called niggers. Like that's not happening. This is just tales that have been passed down, and you hearing about stuff and other people telling you stories about stories and all of that whatnot. But as a whole, this has not happened to you. This is trauma that you have chosen to adopt and make your own. Not something that I know people like to talk about as trauma passed down through generations and inherited. That's nonsense. This is stories. Just like if nobody ever told you this word was offensive, you would never be offended by this word, because why would you be? You have absolutely no business being. It's just a fucking noise. Who cares? Stop empowering the shit. And I also think the ironic thing is, he's telling this white lady, I don't know what her name is either, but he's telling her that it will be super offensive if she says it, and he will be the victim of it because he's the only Black person there, and then turns around and calls Myron and Uncle Tom.
Yeah.
You're putting this woman down for talking about racial slurs, and then you go and use one against him in the exact same breath.
You want to hear the crazy part? And I'm reaching here. It looked like he was about to say sand nigger. This sand nigger, I swear to God. You might have to go back to the clip. You might have to go to, and he caught himself. He was like, this Uncle Tom, I could have, was he about to say this sand nigger?
I would have to rewatch it, but you see, but the point, his immediate response was to call someone else a racist name.
It's crazy.
Like, what are you talking about? How can you take this stance that this name is so, or this word is so damaging and traumatizing, and then throw it right onto the next guy who looks like you? Because I'm reasonably certain Myron is at least a partially Black person.
Yeah, obviously he's fucking Black. His skin is, he's something.
Well, I mean,
He ain't white.
I don't think he's like Pakistani or something. Like, I don't think he's like that. I think he's black. I don't know. He's black in some capacity. But the point is,
Right.
you just sit there and you take it and you throw it right onto him. If this is so traumatizing, why would you do this to him? This person who's younger than you. Why would you sit there and try and pass it right off right there in order to defend your point? You're defending saying that it's inappropriate and damaging for her to call you a racial slur and then call him a racial slur.
That's crazy. You know what? Here I go again. I'm gonna throw this up in the air, Jay, man. And we haven't talked about this, but fuck it. On camera. Jay, you can edit it out if you want, but I know you're not.
We here for it. I don't even know what it is, but
my man Yoda, I put my man Yoda against anybody. Y'all want to debate, y'all want to shoot the shit, whether it be Mark Lamont Hill or motherfucking Dr. Umar or fucking Candace Owens, Andrew Tate. I put my man Yoda against any of y'all motherfuckers, man. Straight up and down. And it's not a competition thing. It's just I think it would do some good authentic discourse about some of these things.
Especially about some of these things, some of this tomfoolery.
Because there's a lot of time, and I talked to Jay, and I'm like, Jay, is this shit even real? Like, what was the last thing you sent? I was like, Jay, what is this? Is this real? Do people really think?
Urgency is a product of white supremacy culture.
Like, I was like, Jay, what are we doing, man? Like, sometimes I don't even want to bring this shit up. I'm like, what is this, man? Like, this is nonsense, right? I hate to harp on nonsense and shit like that. It sounds
satirical.
It does. And I don't want to give it any validity or any seriousness when you big these things up, even when I don't know Mark Lamont Hill, but what I do know of him, I've seen him and Candace Owens I have a debate on, gender. And I thought to myself, like, come on, Candace, like, she's saying a man can't be a woman and a woman can't be a man, and a man was born a woman and a woman's born a man, and a man can't have a baby. And he's arguing that men probably can have a baby. And I'm like, why are we having this discussion? This is not a discussion to be had. That's why we often say on this show, I'm not here to debate what's the truth. I'm not debating it, because you give this satirical nonsense, or what appears to be satirical, you give it some type of validity or authenticity to it, and there's none. There is none. So that's why I caught wind of Mark Lamont Hill. He's now on Joe Budden's platform, which he's doing well. He's a smart cat.
Oh, that's who they've been talking to.
Yeah. He's
okay.
Yeah, he's a smart cat. And we say this a lot on this show, like smart, intelligent people are able to somehow debate points that have no validity and somehow give it some sort. And that's, I think, even with his discussion with Candace, that's what frustrated her. It's like, yeah, I know you're smart and I know you can add nuance to these things, but it's not just because you can do these things, it's not correct, man. Like, I know you're smarter than the average cat, but that doesn't equal intelligence to me. Just because you could argue these things, and you know the vernacular to use to argue these things, that doesn't make you intelligent.
See, that's the problem that people have, though, is because people are so unable to think for themselves that if someone who is able to articulate themselves well makes a point, they assume it's a fact. Because at the end of the day, I can sit up here and I can debate that men can be women if that is the stance that I've chosen to take. I can argue whatever the fuck it is that I would like if that's the stance that I want to take, and I will beat most people in the argument. It doesn't make me right, though. That's what being able to talk someone does not make you correct. That's the flaw with the court system. The better lawyer is the better talker, and they win. But that's a whole entire different topic as a whole. But people get this shit. Yeah, you can nuance something all the way to shit, and that makes a lot of people believe that you've proven something wrong. Like, right, in the same way that I'll say that anyone can do whatever it is that they want, and someone will come and pop up a thing, and, well, what about the person who was born into slavery in Ghana? Sure, that's different. And
Right,
then, but most people
right,
will sit there and think, well, he found an exception to your thing, therefore your thing is wrong, because people
right.
do not understand the nuance that gets introduced to things, so they're tricked by that. And it's very easy to do that, because most people are not very intelligent or well spoken or critical thinkers at all. But that's the problem, though, and that's what bothers me, is when smart people take these ridiculous stances. And again, we've talked about this before. I don't believe that certain things anybody really, truly, legitimately believes. They have just taken this stance because it's what it is, the stance they've told they should be taken. It's the popular thing. They want that sort of attention. I do not believe there is a motherfucker in the world who truly believes that
Me
men
neither.
and women are interchangeable. I
Me
don't
neither.
think that even the fucking Transformers believe it, but it comforts them. I don't believe that a
Mhm.
single person truly believes that.
Me neither. I don't believe it. Like you said, it's a comfort thing, and they run to it. You know, people run towards comfort, and they run away from discomfort, right? So,
As we talked
and like,
about before, straight to the
we,
devil, away from God.
yep, and we also often talk about gray area. You know, you guys can live in that gray area and thrive, and that's another conversation to be had. Like people like Mark, and I hate to harp on him, but because I think he is intelligent to a certain extent. But people who thrive in gray area, right, because they're able to articulate gray area better than others uh, who don't live in that area. Like I always put you up there because I put my mind against anyone's other minds. If you want to go mind for mind, I think I put myself up there amongst the top elite minds in the world. But being able to articulate these things are a different thing, right? Like, so I use the art form of rap and writing and stuff like that to articulate these things. Jay, he uses the art of getting in your ass with these words and shit, right? So that's art, and that's what led me to and what I noticed from listening to him. Like, yeah, this dude knows he knows how to articulate exactly even what I'm thinking, right? So that's why this combination is fucking almost is going to be lethal because I could toss up these fucking ideas that I have in this computer of mine that's up here, and Jay knows he has a computer as well, and he's able to articulate it. And if you're able to articulate certain things, you already have an advantage over that. Not even the average person, the above average person, right? So Jay, I don't know if you feel the type of way for me tossing you up there like that, or in challenges or debate, but I'm putting my fucking stamp on it. I put money on it. I got my man Jay in any debate. He got me in any rap. Y'all want to, you know what I mean? However you want to do it. Y'all want to go rap for rap, or y'all want to go talk for talk. Game within a game will
We're
defeat
here for that shit.
game, and we will stand firm in any argument, in any debate, any fucking rap form, whatever you want to do. We here for it.
Period.
That's
You said a great thing that just made me think of this. You'll put your mind up against anybody's, right? And 1,000%. And I think that here's the thing, that when you look at people, we talk about people who can dive around the nuance and articulate themselves very well. I think that where Kanye winds up in so many problems is because he's
yeah,
ahead of so many people
yeah.
mentally, but he is not able to articulate
That's
himself
it.
well enough. So
That's
because
it.
of that, it's very easy to make him appear wrong. And again, this is not a knock to Kanye at all, but he can't fully articulate the points that he wants to make. And because of
Absolutely.
that, people can very easily make him seem crazy or make it seem like he's wrong, when in reality, he's not. He just is unable to defend the point that he's making as well as certain people are able to pick it apart, or at the very least as quickly. And I also believe that on some degree, his own arrogance will prevent him from wanting to explain himself. And I fully get it, because I've said shit like, I'm not gonna fucking explain it, because fuck you, who are you to question me? So
absolutely.
I get that though. But yeah, being able to speak well is absolutely a power in life.
One of the most elite powers. Put you ahead of a lot of people. And Ye, to Ye's, Ye does not have a Yoda. Ye need to go get a Yoda, man. He doesn't have a Yoda. And look, he can't borrow my Yoda or even try to. But you know what? I'm not even gonna go into that, because you know what, Jay. Opportunities may present themselves, but he he needs a fucking Yoda, man. I'll tell him to get his own Yoda, but he could borrow my Yoda from time to time.
He could come on here. We could unpack all of this shit together.
That's what I'm trying to say.
He could come right on here. We can unpack all of this shit.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Plus, yay! Come on.
That's what I'm trying to say, man. Like that's why I'm throwing you to the wolves, man. I'm throwing you to the audience, man. Like,
all the way
listen,
here,
man. All right, I know we didn't talk about that, but fuck it. I love that, and I know you'd be accept the challenge. So I didn't have to say that off the camera, but I digress when it comes to that. We could get into that at a later note. We'll talk about that off camera, Jay. I might have a couple battles for you.
I'm here for
Dr. Marco. But I don't want. Hey, look, future. I'm not doing no rap battles though. Ain't nobody gonna be spitting in my face.
Man. They be on some wild shit. Like,
no, we could go booth. We could go booth for booth.
Yeah,
song
you
for song.
Do the actual battle. Like Geechee Gotti be saying shit that will get him killed in real.
Yeah, right. I'm not trying to do that, but I will throw you against a debate. It's really respectfully done. We could do a debate and shit, but I'm not doing no rap battle. But we could go for song. But like I said, digress. We're going to talk about that off camera. But a couple of more clips I want to mention, Jay, before we get out of here. This I found interesting. Michelle Obama talking to Marlon Wayans and shit. Why is this woman talking to a comedian in the first place? Well, me and you can speculate or insinuate why, and I'm pretty sure that we know the reason. My reasoning being, why would she sit down with Marlon Wayans? Because his son or daughter is a freak. Is the son, daughter?
I don't know what the kid is. It becomes very confusing because
I don't even know.
I don't know what it is.
And look, no disrespect, like that it warms her heart. It warms my heart that a black man. They go that word black. She ain't say man. She ain't say that a man is supporting his transgender kid. She didn't say warms my heart because this man, what a hell of a man is. She didn't say that. She said this black man. Like, what are you trying to sell us? There goes that word again. They're trying to sell. Y'all don't see this? Like, y'all don't see black excellence, black sticks, black man, black biz. Here, take this transgender, take this, take this, right? So she says, it warms my heart to see this black man support his transgender, whatever kid. Zender. I said transgender. Whatever the fuck you are, bro. My point is, cool, man. You support your kid, man. Do that. Why do we need to know about it, man? I support. Like, you don't need to throw this to the fire. And the ex fucking president's wife, why are you even speaking to this fact and propelling this? And why is this a clip that's going for? Why, Jay? Why is this a thing, man? Like, why are we even talking about this shit? Why does this warm her heart, Jay? Say that. Yeah. Why does this warm her heart?
I mean, we already know why it warms her heart, because this is the agenda. This is the things they want you to believe. This is the things that they want you to participate in. And who better to help spread the message than this woman who has been propped up as one half of this black power couple and leader of the black community and pillar
black excellence
of excellence. There you go. Example of black excellence to push this fucking weirdo narrative on everybody to sit there and say you're doing this and you're supporting your transgender child and as a black man, because when she emphasizes that it's a black man doing it
Come
and
on.
her being the hero or a hero of the black community purportedly, it encourages other people to maybe embrace their transgender children or to push their children to explore their own gender identity and adopt their own pronouns and get their surgeries and fucking castrate themselves and take all kinds of drugs and whatnot and prance around in dresses and all of this other shit that's apparently so bold and so brave and so amazing for you to embrace who it is that you are and go against what the societal norms and all of that, and just be yourself in spite of all of the pressures that are against you, even though nobody is against you, at least not publicly, because these are not things that you're allowed to say. And I want to pause real quick too, because I've seen a bunch of people passing that clip around with the thing of
I was
where
gonna
they're saying,
before you go there. I was about to chime in before you go there. I know where you're about to go, but before you get into that bag, Jay, do you think it has anything to do that people think she's a guy? Like, no, but for real, like, is she starting to become the spokes? Are they ready to? Are they trying to soften you up for her release of out? I don't know. I know it's a rumor and it's fucking. It could not be true or true, whatever the case may be. But is it a coincidence that people think she's a guy and all of a sudden, and now all of a sudden she's now the it warms my heart especially because I'm a fucking guy. I'm Mike. So I'm joking, of course. It's satirical. I hope you guys know I'm joking. God damn, you take
maybe,
a joke,
maybe not, maybe it's a
right?
joke,
Yeah,
maybe it's
whatever. But
not, nobody knows.
go ahead, Jay. I'll let you. I'll let you finish your point. I
So
know
all
where you were
right,
going with that, though.
so here's the thing. People are passing around the clip talking about, because the way she said it was, it warms my heart as a black man.
Right, right, right.
And I understand this idea that she's a man. I've heard the thing. Everybody's heard the thing. So they're saying this is her having slipped up. And the problem
That's
with these things, I'm not here to say Michelle Obama is not a man. Maybe she is. I don't know.
that's her
It wouldn't
business.
surprise me, but
It wouldn't. It
it
wouldn't.
was not surprising. But here's the thing. People, and this is a theme that I have noticed a lot of with all of these clips that we've been passing back and forth and whatnot, is people hurt their own cause so much when they jump on these things. Obviously, she was referring to Marlon Wayans when she
Yes,
said as a
black
black
man.
man. But when you sit there and take it and insist that this is something different, when you take it out of context, you make your own cause seem that much more ridiculous, and you make yourself less believable. You hurt your own credibility because all you're doing is looking for things to jump on and to run with, and that's what the problem is. And that, just going back to the thing before with the Mark Hill guy and the woman, the white woman who was calling herself a racist, the problem. Oh, I'm sorry. And then I don't know if we haven't brought this up yet, but the woman in the park and all of that whatnot. But the reason that
We get into that.
people are feeling all of these ways about stuff is because nobody could be objective and actually look at what comes with their cause and reject the things that don't and say this isn't the case. It's the same thing when black people run around and they want to call everything racist and support everything black. If you can't also condemn your own people, nobody is going to care when you defend them, because at a certain point, it looks like you're just defending them purely because they're black. You don't care if they're doing the right thing. You don't care if they're doing the wrong thing. You just look like you want black people to be untouchable and immune to criticism and all of that shit. It hurts your cause much fucking further rather than benefiting it all. You're rallying behind the wrong shit. You're rallying behind the wrong people in your quest for whatever the fuck it is that your quest is. You're hurting it. But back to the Michelle Obama thing. Maybe she's a dude. I don't know. But that is not her admitting that she's a dude, period. But
No.
people need to really sit there and look at this stuff and think, why is the exactly what you said? Why is the former first lady propping up this stuff? Why is she running around spreading this weirdo shit everywhere? And not only that, people keep saying it's this inclusion and this tolerance and all of this stuff. First and foremost, by their own admission, they're like 1% of the population. These gender bender transformer people, right? They're
Yep.
1% of the population. This is nobody. There are more Star Wars fans in the fucking country, and they get made fun
Facts.
of too. Why are we
Facts.
not rallying for the Star Wars people? Why are we not
Right.
rallying for the people who dress up like fucking animals and trees and whatnot? Why are you not rallying for the cosplayers and the people who walk around dressed like superheroes? They're marginalized too, because people
Right.
make fun of them. People don't take them seriously. And prior to 10 or so years ago, nobody gave a fuck about the trans people. They were minding their own business. Yes, people thought they were weird, but nobody was truly actively against them until they started pushing the shit. Until they started saying, here, look at this, accept this, participate in this, do this, and accommodate them amongst your daily lives and all of this stuff. Nobody cared until then.
I didn't even know there were gay marriages until they told us there were.
Like, nobody gave a fuck. That's what I'm saying. Nobody
cared.
Nobody cares until you try to make people accept it. And that's the question, because they drape all of this shit amongst, we want equality and inclusion and tolerance. They were fine. They were fine before everybody knew about it.
Absolutely. That's what I don't get it.
You made people not like them by pushing this weirdo shit everywhere. This is why nobody gave a fuck. Well, I remember when I was like, when I was living in California, when I was like 16, 17, up at fucking La Puente, at the middle of the night, it would be a street with a bunch of fucking dudes dressed up as women that were prostitutes, and everyone was just like, "Oh no, those are the fucking transgenders, the fucking transvestites," and nobody cared though as a whole. It's like, yeah, they're weirdos, stay away from them. But other than that, nobody gave a shit. No one cared.
Nobody cared, man. Like even walking the streets of New York at night, still to this day, but even to a greater degree. Back in the day, like I used to be leaving studios in like 42nd Street and all these other, man, it's a different world. It's a different world. It's like they own the night at where you think the freaks come out at night? Houdini told y'all, man, like where you think that shit came from? But it wasn't a thing. Like everybody's like, yo, they do their thing, we do our thing.
Nobody cared.
Who cares?
Nobody cared about the fucking the drag, the fucking cross dressers and their little drag shows. Fucking RuPaul has had a TV show with his weirdo little competitions for years, and nobody cared about it. The only reason people care now is because they're trying to push it on every goddamn body. And this is not an elaborate or complex thought. This is very straightforward. So obviously, the people who are pushing this understand that nobody cared about them before.
Yeah, once you got the kids involved, and you start seeing this stuff in schools and stuff like that. That's when people was like, "Hey, wait."
Chill. Stop telling my little boy he could be a girl.
Yeah, once that's when you cross the line, man. You could be yourself. Be yourself behind closed doors. Who cares? No one cared before. When you start propping this stuff up and promoting it, I tend to believe that's for a reason. And when you do market things to sell. You're trying to sell something when it's being marketed. So that tells me you're trying to sell this to American people, because I don't even believe this is a worldly thing.
People tell me all of the time, we don't see this shit in fucking Asia. We don't see this shit in Africa. You don't see this shit in Eastern Europe.
No, they are selling this
Western thing.
They are selling this to you now, American people. And you gotta be, and this is on this show, we tell you to beware of keywords. That's why we say words like black. When you start seeing these words, black and N-word and transgender, it's a narrative, it's a marketing tool. It's hypnotism almost to a certain degree.
Exactly what it is. They condition you to believe all of these things.
And don't get it fucked up. They are in a room and they're throwing these words amongst what they call a think tank.
Yep.
Throwing these words around, and what words people react to and don't react to. It's kind of like what's that thing when they was trying to sell this 9/11 thing? It was the orange. It was a word, or it was a word they were trying to. They were telling us, I forgot the fucking word, but they threw it around in think tanks, and this word tested well, right? And then they gave it to the American people. I forgot
a
level. It was like level. What was, say it again?
Anthrax?
No, that could have been one.
I don't know.
It was another word, but I digress, but I forgot the word. But my point is, they throw these words around in think tanks and see what words test well, and they do it with all corporations, and it's a marketing tool. Amazon does it. Every business does it, especially if they're trying to sell you something. What words? The word sale and the word free and the word discounts. And
this how they come up
so
with the $34.99 instead of
yes,
$35. Yeah.
yes, yes. It's all psychology, man. We just trying to get you to pay attention and to stop being triggered by certain words or hypnotized by certain words because they're trying to sell you something. They're trying to persuade you to think a certain way, and we gotta do a little better in with our discernment and looking out for these words. But again, there's another clip I want to get to, or another situation I want to get to, and I want to get to it because we kind of got into it. What was the name of that show? A couple of shows ago, was it Gods Amongst Gods? Was the show where we talked about perfection and what that looks like, the natural order of things and shit like that, right? And
I think
and
that might have
how
been
it is
last episode.
could have been. No, last episode was I forgot the name of that. No, it was the episode before that. It was God Amongst Gods. Anyway, we talked about perfection and the natural order of things and how this perfection under the natural order of things can be achievable by a regular man or a human. Maybe not so regular, but that goes in that makes me think about this clip of Andrew Schultz and Charlemagne, right? And I'll set the clip up. They're talking about Schultz says no man is perfect, or Jesus was perfect, perfect man, and he died for our sins. And Charlemagne calls bullshit on it. But I believe that Schultz's reaction was telling. He then goes on to say, "We are all sinners. You were born a sinner." And Charlemagne asks why. Why are we? How are we all born sin? A baby's a sinner? Like, how is that even possible? And then Charlemagne does. He adds and says, and this goes back to our Gods Amongst Gods show. He says most people don't even try and live up to the example that Jesus set. If he was died a perfect man, and then he died for nothing because we're not even trying to live up to that example that he set, right? And we talked about this on Gods Amongst Gods. Like, well, we're not even trying to live up to perfection or the example that was set by Jesus, or what the Bible says. We're not even trying to live up to these things. So I found it interesting, Schultz's reaction to Charlemagne, even questioning, like, how dare you? Whoa, whoa. He was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Slow down there, bucko. You can't question this. Let's get into that a little bit, Jay. I would like to hear your thoughts on this. I have a couple of thoughts on it and a couple of things to chime in on, but I want to first get your thoughts on it, Jay.
So when we talked about this a little bit last episode, I believe, about you not being allowed to ask questions about certain things, and anything that you're not allowed to ask questions about should be a red flag, because if it's true, if it's real, why can you not follow your curiosities? It's going to lead you to the true conclusion. If it's true, right?
Mm-hmm.
You'll come to the conclusion that they want you to come to because it's what's factually accurate. So you can't ask these questions. It raises a lot of questions, ironically. And one thing in relation to that I've always wondered or questioned is the idea when people say Jesus died for our sins. But what does that mean exactly? Because the thing is,
crazy.
why do I need to be forgiven still, right? Like, shouldn't that mean that I now have a blank slate to do whatever the fuck it is that I want to? If he died so my sins would be forgiven, aren't I just good to do whatever it is that I want now?
Now
And
I
if
can
that's
run
not
him up.
what it means, what does it mean? Like, what exactly does that mean? He sacrificed himself. People are still sinners, or he didn't sacrifice himself. He was sent there as a sacrifice, which is also a very strange concept to me. Maybe I don't understand it, but the idea of, because if you take these things into the context of regular people, and again, maybe my mind is just not ascended enough, I don't know, but if you take these things into the context of regular people, right? Imagine somebody comes and says to a group of, I don't know, workers, 30, 40 workers, you guys are fucking up and I'm going to fire you all. But this is my son. If you all kill him, then I will forgive you and you can keep your job. That's weird, right? Like, that's a weird thing to believe to me. I don't understand the premise behind it. And again, maybe my mind is just not ascended enough. Maybe I've just not reached the level of enlightenment where that makes sense to me and I'm not supposed to, it's not supposed to make sense. I don't know. But that is a thing that I've always questioned, and I've always questioned the idea of, and I think we talked about this before too, but we're born sinners. How? What did a baby do? Like,
I have no
babies
idea.
are not born sinning, or they're not born into sin, because the very concept of this is you're born evil and you have to work to chip away the evil, right?
That's crazy.
The evil is stuff that you pick up throughout life, right?
Right. It builds. Yeah.
Exactly. And even
You don't begin with it.
Huh?
I said you don't begin with the
exactly. But
right.
So, which is interesting, right? Because as a whole, the concept of doing bad and the concept of evil, or the concept of something being bad, is things added on to a thing, right? Because take a movie, for example. If you let's look at Batman, right? Batman runs around preventing crime. He makes the city a better place because there's bad shit there to begin with. So he gets rid of it. And then it goes back to being good again, right? But without the bad shit, Batman has nothing to do. So if no one started committing crime, there would be no Batman. There would be no bad. If you look at the concept of peace, right? Peace is nothing. War is added on top of peace. So when things start happening, war, that's when you have war. That's when the peace ends.
What's that bar said in that little clip? I can't sell you. I can't sell you peace if I don't sell you war.
Exactly. So you create the problem, then you get rid of the problem, right? And the baby comes out blank slate, as nothing. Nothing has been added on to this baby to corrupt it. So you're not born as a sinner. You're born into a world which can corrupt you. But it is also possible that you can go throughout the entirety of your life and never do a bad deed. That's a thing that's possible. It's entirely possible that you can go throughout the entirety of your life and never lie to anybody, never steal, never cheat, never cause anybody undue harm.
Yeah, for sure.
Along those lines, is it possible to go through your life without committing some sort of act of cruelty, period? Now, and he freaked out when he said the thing about how are we born sinners or whatnot, right? But it's a very, very reasonable question. And so many
couldn't answer it either. Because
there's not an answer. But so many people's things too are predicated around the idea that children are innocent. And children are innocent because they haven't been corrupted. They haven't had any of this bad shit added on to them. Nobody is just born as a bad person. You are made into a bad person when you collect these bad character traits, right? So I think that we might have talked about this before too, but I think these things as a whole are just excuses to fall short of things and to do bad things. And I also think that on some level, and maybe this is weird, I don't know, but we talk about the island people a lot, right? And I feel like part of the justification for the island people's actions somewhere in their mind is, well, we're all born sinners. Nobody's good. So when you're born sinners, you're not good as a child. You're impure and corrupted then.
Jay, add a little context to island people, just real quick. We have some new listeners and shit.
Yep, island people.
I live on an island.
The Epstein Island people.
Epstein Island, yes.
Yes, that is correct. That's a good clarification.
Hey, let's clear that up, Jay, please.
Epstein, all the Epstein list people, right? So a lot of these things that people sit there and they talk about just seems like an excuse to fall short of things. And exactly what Charlemagne said is correct. People aren't even trying to live up to the example that Jesus has set. Why are you not striving for perfection? Why are you not striving to live a life of righteousness? Why are you not striving to be honest? Why are you not striving to be just and do all of the things that you should be doing? Why are you out here lying to people? Why are you out here stealing, whether that's physically or are spiritually or emotionally or mentally, whatever the case may be. Why are you not following the example of the person you believe gave his life for you? If you believe this man died for you, then you owe it to him to follow in his footsteps and do the things that he has told you that you should do. Because how fucking ungrateful must you be for someone to give up their life so that you can have one, for you to then turn around and say, fuck you, I don't care. I'm going to fuck it off and do whatever it is that feels good to me. Yes, I know this is against everything that you've stood for. Yes, I know that you gave up your life so that I can have the opportunity to continue doing the things that you can no longer do, but I don't care. Because I want to watch this porn. I want to smoke this weed. I want to eat this food. I want to fuck these bitches. I want to spin the block and all of this other ignorant shit, because this is what you want to do. How fucking selfish are you? Because if that's the case, if Jesus died for your sin, Charlemagne is right. He died for fucking nothing. And that is all of your fault.
And it's like this martyrdom, this idea of martyrdom, it started there, of course, with the most famous martyr of all time, right? And I speak to my wife about this all the time, about how Malcolm X just died basically for nothing. You know what I mean? A martyr, just like that. And so many, not too many, but um, the idea of Jesus, and that goes into or Jesus and God, the idea of it. And there is a lot of questions to be had there. As far as for me, I've always been a person that questioned everything, especially when it doesn't make sense. And I think that's why we make a good combo. I would question. I got another question for you. So, and we talked about this a little bit earlier, well off camera. How vain has human life become when we could put a face and a name and an eye color and a hair color to something so goddamn powerful? Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, the idea of something that creates mountains and skies and moons and stars. Yeah, this guy got blonde hair. You know what I'm saying? Like, I I have to think about that. I just don't know. Like, what do you put it? How vain do you have to be that this guy has a name? Well, his name's fucking. This is his name. God, Jesus, whatever. This guy has a name. Allah, whatever it may be. He's a guy. Is he? What? And these are my questions. It might be ridiculous, like you said. I might not be fucking that enlightened to or knowledgeable to be able to answer these questions or even think about these questions. But these are the things I ask myself, and I'm just throwing this out there. Did we humanize the universe? Because I believe that God, whatever name you want to call it, Allah, whatever, I believe that is the universe, right? That is the universe, and there's natural laws and order with this universe. I can't put a name to it, but for lack of better, for the argument's sake of argument, we'll say God, right? But how vain has human life become where we could say, oh, this guy is blonde hair. Oh, he might be a woman. Yeah, well, it's a guy, is a woman. He might be black. This guy, we got wool, hair of wool, skin of brass. We are humanizing this, and does that
look
add
like Shaft?
Right, like this Shaft walking around in fucking silk garbs, floating with sandals on? Like, oh, okay, like what are we doing here? And are we human? Did we humanize it to the point to where is that why it's able to be disrespected in the manner it is now? Because if we looked at it as this powerful being, would it be disrespected the same way when we used to fear God? That fear seems to be not there anymore, right? And is it the reason because we humanized this idea, right? I think God is an idea of the universe, right? And it's been humanized and put a face and eyes, and he got this, he's got that. He did this, he was able to do that. Maybe I could be like that. Well, man, maybe I could have a beer with him. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, well, what do you think about that, Jay? Just an idea I had in my head.
Nah, I fully agree. I think we've talked about this before, but like, I'm a big believer that the universe, God, infinite intelligence, collective, whatever it is that you would like to call it, is all different variations of the same thing. And I think that I do agree that the idea of God as this individual is people just taking the universe as a whole and trying to make it into something that they could understand. I kind of look at it in the sense that, like,
Great.
if you
Great.
take
That
your
was
if you
great.
take your neurons, right, and your central nervous system, right, and look at that as your body is like your universe, your central nervous system is all the inner workings of it and all of that whatnot that dictates what it is that you do. So taking that concept and then trying to make it into a little guy, like you have some person in there in charge of doing shit. And it's just very odd to think that that's what that's what it would be like, for everything to be interconnected, and it's just some dude up there pulling strings and everything. And
Right.
I think that that's one of the reason, like, if you go to Eastern culture, you look at Buddhism, Hinduism, and all of that, they don't have a lot of the issues that we have here in the Western world, because theirs is more centered around ideologies and beliefs and the inner working. They have their resurrection and all of that stuff,
Virtues.
and they have,
Yeah,
exactly, it's more so connect or centered around the inner workings of things, as opposed to some divine puppet master. Because even Buddha's a teacher in their thing. He's not a god, and they have Ganesh and all of that, who's another variant, but he's not like the overseer or the
Right.
over ruler of their religion. And then even when you go to like Islam and stuff, they do have Allah, they do have Muhammad, but it is
Right.
against their religion to depict or describe the motherfucker, because
Yeah.
they understand that's not the point. The point
Right.
isn't, did this prophet have braids and tattoos? The point is, what was he talking about? What is he teaching? What is he trying to show us? What are his lessons? And they kept the focus on the right thing. Over here, we have people sitting here arguing about, well, Jesus was a white guy in the Middle East. No, Jesus was black and had dread. Who fucking cares, man? Are you following his teachings or not? Are you doing the things that he has said that you should do or not? Who gives a fuck if God is a man or a woman or a motherfucking mystical sky elk? Who cares? The point is, he has given you life. This is your belief. He has given you a set of rules to live by, and a way to, and a roadmap to go about life. Why are you arguing over what the person who gave you directions looks like? And this is just another thing that you have to divert away from what it is that actually matters. And I think over here again too, because we have this concept of freedom of religion. So you have a lot of these religious issues here, because people are able to just so openly disrespect other people's beliefs and whatnot, and this creates all sorts of dissent and smaller issues amongst people. Whereas again, you don't have this in the Middle East, because this is over here Islam, Muslim, period. It doesn't matter how it is that you feel about it. It doesn't matter what it is that you think about it. This is what it is that we do. If you say otherwise, go the fuck somewhere else. So it would be one thing if you can have your own, you have your own shit, but you don't sit there and try and disrespect everybody else's shit. But again, I think that all of these things are by design, and it is a way to keep people from focusing on what it is that really matters. You're keeping people from being the best version of themselves, because they're sitting here arguing about stupid shit like what Jesus thinks about tattoos, or some
Right.
nonsensical shit like that.
Right. And what better else way for people to get ahead than to create drifters, right? And right, you have to you have to have, if you want, if you, yeah, there's people that's focused, and but how do these focused people get ahead if we don't have drifters or people who drift? So what better way to create drifters than stuff like this to argue about? Oh, he had this, he had that, this was that. But like you said, it's not about that, man. It's not a, like you said, we're all, it's a connective thing. It's a connective thing. The universe is connected. What I do today will affect what happens tomorrow. What I say on this podcast now can affect certain things, right? I could say one thing that could affect someone's life, and that thing that affected his life could affect someone else's life. And we're all, that's what it means to be connective. That's what the universe is. People don't understand that. So they go about saying things and doing things that they don't understand the repercussions of these things. And I used to be one of those people. So now that I understand the universe, and it's not about religion or some guy in the sky. It's about me and what I put out in the universe and how it can change the universe, either for the better or for the worse. Right? So I make sure that I try to put the best things out in the universe because I know that it's connective. This is the natural order of things, right? If I go out and take someone else's life, that's a father or a mother, I know that affects the kids. The kids grow older, it affects so many things. This is the universe. If I go out and kick a fucking dog in the face, it affects everything. And people don't understand that. If you go out and you kill all the cows, or you destroy the bees, we don't respect what was given to us, right? We were given this earth, this great thing, and we fucking fucked it up.
Yeah, it's
right?
supposed to live in harmony with all of the things.
Yeah, but you don't if you don't understand it, right? Or you were led astray, and now you understand something different. You don't know, right? So we read. So you know what I'm saying, the answers in the book, and like me, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. If you want to hide some, it's a joke that me and my wife say. You want to hide something from a nigga, you put it in a book, right? You want to hide something from a nigga, you put it in a book. We need to read. We need to explore. We need to challenge ourselves, right? And we need to question each other and question things and not get upset when things get questioned and to stop the question. Oh no, you can't do that. But how do we get an understanding if we don't question, Jay? Like, how do we understand these things?
That's why
Like,
you can't ask questions, though. You're not supposed to understand.
you're
You're
not
supposed to
supposed to.
blindly follow.
You're supposed to blindly follow. Like I just said, how do you create drifters? And why would you create drifters? To take advantage of them, right? So there are people that understand why we're here, right? There are people like that. They understand why we're here, and they want to divert your attention from that simple matter. How and why? Either for power or money, whatever the case may be. They just need to distract you long enough to extract your natural resources. If it's your working, your capabilities, your mental, your physical, whatever it is, man. So, like we say on this show, the natural order of things is connective, man. And whether it's like you said, whether it's a guy in the sky, we don't believe that shit. What we believe in is the natural order of things.
Yeah, man, and that's exactly what you said too. That's both Buddhist and 5%er ideology. I believe is the 85% of the population is dumb, deaf, and blind. 10% knows the truth but wants to keep them blind to it, and
I agree.
5% trying to expose it.
I
And
agree
that's
with
what it
that.
is that you see now, man. You brought up Malcolm X when we were talking about Jesus, and the same thing. You see all of these people, all of the the woke brothers and shit nowadays fighting for
The Soul Brothers.
The soul brothers fighting for their freedom, not understanding that they are following slave roadmaps. And this is all of the shit that, again, Malcolm X talked about too. Beware of these motherfuckers talking about this shit. And y'all ignored it and went right the fuck to it. And people do not understand this shit. And this is, again, this is going back to the very beginning. I think this is why they have wrapped so much up in this N word, that they want everyone to fear so much, is because, not only because of that, but because of the story that comes along with it.
There
And
you go,
have
Jay.
this idea and you have this belief that you are oppressed by this word, and that stretches out to that you are oppressed by the system as a whole. And again, I know people are stupid. I'm not saying that there's no racism. I'm not saying that nobody is fucking racist. People are racist. Whoop-de-fucking-do. But this is not the Jim Crow era. This is not fucking Tulsa, Oklahoma back in the days. This is not segregation. This is not redlining and all of this shit. You can go out into the world and do whatever the fuck you choose to do, period. Is it more difficult for some people? Yes. So what? Such is fucking life. The point is, you are free to do it. What people fought for was freedom, which is not just to be given things, it's the freedom to go out and do things. People were imprisoned once upon a time. They rioted, they rallied, and people said, okay, fine, we will tear down the prison walls. Then they tore the prison walls down, and you motherfuckers refused to leave the area of the prison, and then blamed the people because they didn't come and put you somewhere else. And you're like, well, we're still over here. We're still dealing with all of this. Leave, motherfucker. All they had to do was tear down the walls. There's no more walls there. Now your belief in the walls is keeping you trapped in this little space because you're sitting here talking about, well, how am I supposed to go anywhere? 300 years ago, there's walls right there. But it's not now. And these people had a head start from us. Okay, so that's life. Go catch up and go do the thing. They've been doing the stuff. No one's going to take away their shit and give it to you. You're not fucking special. People have confused this idea of equality with special kinds of treatment for people. You have opportunity. Go make something of it. Stop sitting there and pointing it at everybody else, because nowadays what they have done is convince you that that other people having a head start is somehow to your detriment. They have convinced you that your past is the reason that you can't do something currently in the present. They have convinced you that all of this shit is holding you back, and now you don't even try to move forward. They removed the walls to the prison and convinced you that they were still there, and you fell for it. And then they turn around and attack anybody that says, hey, there's no walls there anymore. And then they sit there and go with all of this other shit. Then they want to go around with what the dude talk about, the Uncle Tom shit, the coonery shit. It's like, well, you're saying this isn't a thing and this isn't affecting it. Move from your fucking space. There's no walls, god damn it. But
there's no walls.
The shit is so fucking ingrained in everybody's stuff. They all still sitting here fighting over words and arguing about the past and all of this shit. And you want reparations from some shit that people who aren't alive did to people who aren't even alive anymore. Shut the fuck up and go make a way for your motherfucking self. Are some people going to look down on you? Yes. Who cares? Are some people going to judge you? Yes. Who cares? That's motherfucking life.
It's crazy. That made me think about one of our first episodes when I talked about when I fucked that story up about the fucking monkeys climbing to get the banana and being hosed down by the water, and then they replaced the monkeys, and the monkeys they replaced them with didn't even know about the water, and they still didn't want to go get the bananas.
Still won't climb. They don't even know why.
Still wouldn't climb. They don't even know why they wouldn't climb.
They just know it's not. They just know they shouldn't climb, so they don't.
They just know they shouldn't do it. So it's like, the psychology of it was, I hate to say it, but it was brilliant. Whoever came up with this shit is fucking crazy. It makes me think, man. Like, there was black people that used to get lynched and killed and beaten just for being able to know how to read, and now we barely know how to read.
Won't touch a book.
What are we doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we doing? Like Jay said, there's no walls. Now you can go get a book. A lot of these answers are in books. But like I said,
it's not cool.
It's not cool, right?
It's not part of the culture.
It's not part of the culture. I hate. That's why I say, we said this last episode, this is not my culture. I don't call this culture. I don't call rap or sexy red or fucking all this garbage, or being overly promiscuous, or overly having a bunch of jewelry, or a bunch of slang, or sagging your pants, or whatever the case may be. I don't find that to be culture or cultured.
See, here's another thing, mildly related, mildly not. But speaking about the culture, right? It'd be these same motherfuckers who will sit there and point to the white executives for pushing this type of shit on people, right? But y'all are the same motherfuckers who didn't want to listen to Talib Kweli and Common and all of that. Like, the stuff is there. You have the people who have been talking about the stuff, but you choose the ignorant shit, and then you blame other people for making you listen to the ignorant shit. This is ridiculous. They are selling you what it is that they know that you are going to buy, and you keep buying it and then getting mad at them for selling it to you.
But Jay, there was a point where, and I'm a rap historian, there was a point where I want to say the balance was there. Like Public Enemy and KRS-One, and you had all these in NWA, and we talked about this before, and it was the balance was there, Jay. And to allude to your point, or people did gravitate to this stuff. So I might want to have to disagree with you a little bit, because this stuff people did gravitate towards a Karis one who was a teacher and Public Enemy, but when you introduce these other ideologies or this other shiny, whatever the case, whoever them, I don't want to put that on one artist or whatever, but there was a point where De La Soul and all this stuff was cool. It was right, and then there was a point where it was like gangster rap without a conscience, because there was always gangster rap, but it had a conscience, right? If you listen to it, Nas, all these, I could name
Nas, Ice Cube, Tupac, yeah.
I could name a whole bunch of artists and groups that talked gangster shit, but it was with a conscience. It was just spinning the block. I'm going to kill you and go and put my chains on and be a star. It wasn't about that. It had a conscience. It had a consequence and the repercussions, right? It had that. If you did this, you got this. There was jail stories. There was getting shot stories, and if you do this, you might have that. So I would have to push back on you there, where it was like, okay, I believe there was a conscious effort being put forth by who? I don't know.
I agree. But the thing is still here, right? Like, certain things started getting promoted more. Sure. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, what they are offering you and what you are choosing to buy are two very different things, because that other stuff, again, never stopped being there.
Right.
This is not what y'all wanted to hear. At a certain point, you didn't want to hear the backpack shit. You didn't want to hear any of that. That's why people like Kanye, because he kind of crossed over between the
but here's the psychology
shit back when he came out.
Here's the psychology about that. Because you said at one point we didn't want to hear it, but why is that? But when we did want to hear it at one point, because these are we talking about artists that sold records, De La Soul and Tribe Called Quest. At one point, they were at the top of the class, right? And then you did have a balance where it was like Kool G Rap and Nas. You had a whole array of artists, but then you bring on other artists that wasn't so conscious, talking about maybe jewelry and dressing fly and all the other thing, clubs and promiscuity or whatever the case may be. What was it where it was like, oh well, now this is cooler than this? Like, when this was prevalent and we had reverence for one thing, and then it was like, okay, if I give you this plate of cookies and I give you this plate of salad, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, the salad was cool, Jay, but the cookies taste better, man.
So
if you get my metaphor, I think you do.
I think this is the thing. And I think it was Freddie Gibbs I heard say the shit where he said, I can rap like them, but I can talk about gangster shit, and it sounds cooler. At the end of it sounds cooler. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Like, right. So you have like Talib Kweli is a better lyricist than DMX, but DMX's music sounds cooler.
Or better.
Exactly.
Sounds better. It might sound just better. Right. So it sounds more appealing.
A large part of that too is related to the content and the things that you can say. Like there's a reason, like you look at like Black Thought or whatever. Like he weaves in between the two different things. And some of it it sounds cool. Like Lil Wayne be rapping about all the crazy. It sounds cool. And it sounds much cooler than if he was just talking about a bunch of positive shit all the time, at least from a wordplay and, video dancing around perspective.
But if this was propped up to be popular by the powers that be, because we know about these suggestive, marketing tools, why would they prop up one thing over the other, right? Why would right?
So that's towards the bad shit.
That's the point I'm trying to prove, Jay.
Absolutely.
Like, okay,
absolutely, that's a fact,
right? They could have chose KRS-One to be Jay-Z. That could have been a thing. That they could have did that.
See, that's not what they wanted you to gravitate towards. But
right.
see, again, this this is the thing with the people who have the issue with the system, but still participate in the system's narratives and stuff. Because like, you don't want to fuck with this. Okay, cool. But stop going with the narratives that they are handing you. So they rock with the shit, because still, again, you could have yeah, they did all of this. They want you to go towards this, but you went towards it. At some point in time, you have to sit there and you have to stop taking or start taking it away from what it is they offered you and what it is that you accepted.
I agree. I agree. And that goes back to even knowing that we have the power, right? We do have power. And it's crazy when I mentioned last episode, the Shador thing, there were a couple athletes that hit me. I'm not going to say no names in my DM. And they was like, yeah, like nah, for real. Like, yo, this was up. Like, why are we settling for this or settling for that? And why don't we realize we have the power, right? Because there's a reason for that. And I know that you finna get into that. But we have to realize that we are the influence. We have the influence, which they use to sell their things or sell their narratives or whatever the case may be. And that's what a sellout is. If you want to be technical, that's my definition of a sellout: using your influence to sell your people out, right? And that's what. And going back to Malcolm X, you sent me a clip. Actually, it's funny. You did send me a Malcolm X clip of him and with LeBron and him saying these certain things about how they prop these celebrities up, and celebrities are not supposed to be leaders or leaders of the people or whatever the case may be. These are people they use to sell narratives. They are marketing tools because they have influence over us. But influence is power, Jay. Like, so get into that, how we sell our people out or sell the people out, not just our people. We sell everybody out by using our influence. And that goes to rap, that goes to basketball, foot, whatever influence you may have, even social media. Why do we continue to sell people, humanity? Let's just say that. Because we're going to stop using this black and this white, because now these words are being used for marketing tools, and that is crazy how they even turn that into a marketing tool. White, black, not the other words though. Like, they don't use. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. And then it's like, who's behind? Like, hey, come on, what are we doing? Why are they pitting? Who's like? Oh, I'm starting to see a pattern here. But yeah, Jay, we're gonna stay away from that for now.
But you can't speak about.
Right, but we can say white, black. These are the triggering words, right? And now we keep doing this, but I'll say we are selling humanity out by using our influence and taking a check to turn people into drifters, whether it be via religion, social media, whatever the case may be. What do you think about that, Jay?
I think that is exactly and very apparently what it is that's going on. It's people will go push whatever and then blame it on the powers that be, as opposed to their own decisions there. And it's like, yeah, sure. I saw, you know what, to take it away from this thing specifically, I saw the other day somebody talking about why obesity wasn't people's fault, and they were saying that, well, the ads for the fast food are everywhere and they push it everywhere that you look. It's like, okay, cool, but they're still not making you go eat the fast food. And this is the problem. Again, this still goes to the prison wall things. This is psychological warfare that you see nowadays. And they're telling you that it's all of this other stuff, so you focus on everything but the fucking messages that they push you, or that they push towards you, because you see every single thing that they talk about is disempowering, and you accept these things. It's not your fault that you're fat because they advertise fast food everywhere. It's not your fault that you're poor and your people are killing each other because look at the slavery 400 years ago. It's not your fault that you worship degeneracy and nonsense because look at the music that they push towards you. Look at the liquor stores in your community. Look at the fact that the system and the powers that be are sexualizing women. It's not on you for looking at them. All of this stuff is to convince you that you have no control over anything and that you don't really know what it is that's going on. Even what we were talking about before with the Michelle Obama and the Transformer kids and whatnot. If you look at the very basis or the very base level of that narrative, it's that you don't know what it is that you see by looking at it, because they will sit there and tell you to say you can't tell what anyone's gender is just by looking at them. The message in there is do not trust your own eyes and look to other people to tell you what it is that you see and to tell you how to understand things. All of these narratives nowadays are slavery. And I've said it before, your people talk about oppression, but the oppressors are narratives. And people are free to unsubscribe from the narratives, but they take the ones that suit them and they run with them, not realizing that they got these narratives from the people that they are calling their fucking oppressors to begin with. They are giving you this shit to run with. You're taking the baton and you're going with it and doing all of your fucking things. And what is very, very interesting to me is that people will see someone like Candace Owens or Russell Brand or what's the fat white dude, Alex Jones or Andrew Tate, who they go and try and deplatform for saying certain things. But these other people, these little activists in these little niche groups, still have their platform where they're still allowed to say whatever it is that they are talking about going against the system. Clearly, if you were truly going against the system, they would be trying to get rid of you too. But they let so many of you run around unchecked because you're spreading the narratives of what it is that they would like you to spread. There is a reason that they took Alex Jones's shit, but they let Dr. Umar go around saying his stuff. I'm not saying I disagree with what he's saying. I'm not saying he doesn't say it. I'm just saying as a whole.
Yeah.
If they didn't, because he's a large name, he is very big. People understand. People know who this is, and he has influence. If they didn't want you saying these things like you seem to believe, they would try their very best to stop you from saying these things, just like they did with all of these other people.
Right. And that goes back to what I said at the beginning. And I'll wrap it up by saying I did say that we are now starting to become victims to words and ideas and ideologies and conversation and disagreeable discourse. These are the things we are slaves to now and victims to now. Triggering words and shit like that, man. We gotta wake up, man. And like I said, I'll wrap it up with that. Jay, I know you got a little spill to take us out, but yeah, man, let's have a little bit better discernment when you hear these trigger words or these marketable, because that's all it is, man. They just trying to sell you something. They try to say some bullshit, man.
It was a few years ago they introduced this idea that words are violence and all of that stuff, and that is this is the fragility that they are pushing onto everybody, and you just go fucking adopt it. Like you need to have more mental fortitude than to get offended by any of these racial slurs or anything along those lines, because the power, like we said in the beginning, the power that you are giving people when they are able to make you react in a certain way because they disagree with you or because they say a word that you don't like should be absolutely unacceptable to you. Because if you want to get ahead in life, if you want to do better, the very least that you are going to need is thick skin, because you are not going to be able to overcome any true adversity if you can't even hear things that you don't like without breaking down, without thinking that you are a victim of something, without thinking that you have been wronged in some sort of way, without you thinking that you are now hurt and need to recover and it's bad for your mental health and all of this nonsense. It's all fucking ridiculous. And you see the people, because what I also noticed in the clip with the Mark Hill guy, Mark Lamont Hill, and the Piers Morgan, is the way that fucking Piers Morgan reacted to this white woman saying that she is well, first and foremost, he pushed her to say that she's racist because he was trying to shame her out of having her opinion. He was trying to shame her out of saying something that it's not okay for her to say socially. And people fall for this shit with these fucking words. They throw around the racism, they throw around the anti-Semitism or the transphobia or the homophobia, the fat, whatever the fuck it is.
He called her a despicable human being.
You are a despicable human. You are an unashamed racist. And it's like, She did first and foremost. From what I heard, she didn't say anything racist. She said things. She said what it is that she thinks. Whoop-de fucking do. People can do this, but this still goes back again to people's fragility around words. Is that people have also discovered that they have this power that if you say something that someone is saying is racist, you take away from what they're saying, and now everyone is focused on the fact that they were called racist, and this person wants to go down this thing of trying to prove that they're not racist, and you want to call them racist. You can call them a bad person. They did the same thing with Kanye. He said a thing, they immediately called him anti-Semitic. They don't pay attention to anything that he says because now he has been assigned this label. It is the power that people are giving words is absolutely insane, and it is these are tools of oppression. Like, language is important, and when you give words all these power, these sayings, these ideas, you are also giving up your freedom because you no longer want to speak your mind because you might be called a word. They're going to call you a bigot.
You know what, Jay? I know we are supposed to end it off with that, but I got one more thing I just thought of. Just overhearing you say what you're saying in your last spill. It's like if I was rich or successful, or let's not say rich, let's say successful. I was a successful human being. Would these words affect me like they affect more less fortunate people, right? So, and I wonder who are these words for, right? So if like for instance, man, if you see a white person, man, and you know he's enjoying his life and he's on a yacht, and you call him a cracker, he's gonna laugh at you, man.
What the fuck?
It's like, you're racist. He's gonna be like, I don't give a fuck. Like, what do you? He's gonna laugh at you, man. And even conversely, if you see a black guy on a yacht, you know, man, he's yachting, and hopefully, I would think, if hey nigger, and it is a white guy, he's a fucking, he's white trash, and he says, nigger, get off that yacht. Yeah, no. Come fight, nigger. No, I'm cool.
I'm cool on my boat.
So, you know what I mean? And I hate to equate success to that. But it's just an example. Like, so it's funny how these words affect certain level of people, or level, even let's say, take it away from a success, a certain level of intelligence. If you're at a certain level of peace and intelligence in your life, would these words affect you as much? I talk to my wife all the time about this. I'm like, yo, if I'm chilling, I'm with my family, I'm with my daughter. I first of all, let's get this out the way. Your outrage, save your outrage, because I know what outrage is like. So if I can't let words trigger me, because my outrage is different from your outrage. My outrage is violence, right? So I will hurt you if you. So if I'm so. You know what I mean? It might end up, or you might hurt me, if I might get in a situation where I can be hurt or you can be hurt and I can be in jail or in a coffin. I don't want that to happen. So I know my outrage is much different from your outrage, right? So when people say I'm outraged and we need to do that, it's cool because you're online texting, or but when you're in this situation, I want to see how you people, like I gave the situation where Mark Lamont Hill and the big cowboy with the cauliflower ears, if he said nigger, man, what would be your reaction? Like, come on, let's be for real, man. Yeah, man, go get in the gym, work on some Tai Fu or Tai Fu, whatever kung fu you need to do, and have some real outrage. You want some outrage? You want a real outrage? Do some real outrage. Other than that, shut the fuck up, man. I'm gonna end my spill with that, because now I'm gonna start getting pissed off and shit. Like, fuck, could save the fake outrage. Like I said, I'm not gonna put myself in a situation where I could lose my family because someone said a word to me. Are you fucking kidding me, man? Because my outrage is real. My outrage is reserved for real shit. If you try to harm me or my family, that's what my outrage is reserved for. Not for some ignorant person calling me a name and he wants a reaction, so I give him a reaction. That's not what we're into, man. You feel what I'm saying, Jay? Like, so yeah, man. That's my last spill, man. I don't even want to keep harping on it.
Nah, see, that's what I'm saying. That when you give the power to this word, you are giving the power to the people who say the word, and to put yourself in a position where somebody can then force you to do something that's going to make you give up everything that you've earned or lose everything that you've worked for is
What are we
absolute
doing?
insanity, because
What are we
they said a
doing?
thing that you were told that you shouldn't like. Because at the end of the day, it's a word.
Yeah,
Whoop-de-doo. It's a sound. Let it go. You could talk this
bro.
historical context all that you would like. That's fine, but we are not living then. This is not happening currently. So who fucking cares? It is no different than the fucking gang members getting mad that someone called them a crab or a slob or anything like
Mm,
it. Like, let it go.
mm.
This is a
Let it
very,
go.
very simple thing. Just let it be. You are giving people so much power when you have a word and you say, if you say this word, bad things are going to happen. Now they control you because why did you give them this power is absolutely ridiculous. There's the people who are worked up about the, I don't remember the bitch's name, but she calls some little kid the n-word. Who fucking cares? I mean, should she be calling kids names? No,
No,
that's weird, but it doesn't matter what the name that you called the kid is.
no.
She shouldn't call the kid
Right.
any name. And
He
also,
could
I'm
have
pretty
called that kid a
certain
piece of shit. He could have called that kid. It's not
it's
right.
still wrong. It's wrong. If she called a little white kid a bitch, it's wrong that she called the kid
Yeah,
a name. But again, this is what I was saying earlier, people hurting their own cause because you take it and you just run with the fucking racism angle. Maybe she's not racist. Maybe she just called him this because she knew that this is what would be offensive. It's
absolutely.
because you gave it this power.
Power.
So
Yep.
you're saying she's racist because she said it. I think she said it because she knew it would get the fucking reaction that she wanted. She wanted it to be hurtful, and she knew that would be hurtful. So this does not make this racist. It just makes it the fact that y'all empowered a stupid fucking word. And on top of that, again, when people, if you the you need to be able to condemn if you're also going to defend. You can also sit there and go and defend the kid saying he should have been called this, while also saying he shouldn't have been going through her bag or whatever the fuck it is that she's doing. But people
Mm-hmm.
don't want to do that, which is why they hurt your own cause. And this
Right.
is why everyone's mad that she has this fucking GoFundMe or whatever the fuck it's called. She raised a bunch of money. But this is what happens when y'all go and raise a bunch of money for the little black kid to stab fucking
Tit for
white people.
tat.
Like, what are you talking about?
Tit for tat. Petty, poor
Like,
people
this
shit.
is stupid, and this is why you would be much better off in your own cause if you can condemn and say he was wrong for stabbing that boy. Like, what the
That's it.
fuck? Why you're defending a murderer just because he's the same color as you, which is why people are rejecting your fucking causes.
Yeah, absolutely. And he was wrong and she was wrong and sometimes there's wrong people doing wrong shit, right? It's like,
It
what are we
doesn't
doing,
matter
man?
who they are. It doesn't matter. Like, start defending good people and
That's
condemning
it.
bad people. But
That's it.
y'all want to defend black people and condemn white people, and this is the problem.
Yeah, that is the problem. You know what? More of the problem is the attention and time and effort being put into these things when that time and effort could be put into something else, right?
Anything.
That's the most hurtful thing to us because it's effort and time and it's mental focus that we put on this and we could be doing something else with that. So that on game within a game, man, we are trying to get you. I know these ideas and these conversations might seem a bit triggering to most, but if you listen to the words, you will understand what we're trying to do here. We're trying to get you to think and question things. That's it. Think and question. Like, yo, why?
Analyze.
Yeah, why would she say something? Oh, because it's a hurtful thing to say. And why would she want to say that? Oh, she wants a reaction. Why would she want to react? Just keep questioning and you will get the answer, right? And then when you do these things, you won't have the triggering reactions that you have now because you just do this because you're fucking hypnotized by these fucking words. And white people as well, not so hypnotized because you can go around calling white people a whole bunch of names. They just, whatever. But we happen to be so hypnotized by these certain words, and we got to stop. Get like Jay says, just don't give it power, man. Just don't give it no power, man, and just let it go. I'm not going to risk my life or my family or my well-being for a word.
Nobody cares. It's not that big of a deal.
The N-word. And that's the name of this episode, the N-word.
Motherfucking right. Game within a game.
Signed, sealed, delivered. Peace out.